In this video, I will share with you the new hotness, the new upgraded version of the Baofeng UV-5G GMRS radio, the new plus-sized Baofeng UV-5G PLUS. The new Baofeng UV-5G PLUS-sized radio comes in a 2-pack, and the cost for the new Baofeng UV-5G PLUS-sized 2-pack is $69, or even less if you find it on sale at Amazon. Affiliate link below. And when you take the time to do the actual math, that means that the new Baofeng UV-5G PLUS-sized radio costs about $35. And just to avoid any potential confucularity, allow me to point out that my friends at Radiodity sent me this 2-pack of new Baofeng UV-5G PLUS-sized GMRS radios at no cost so that I could share them with you, who I have no shame in telling you are my favorite viewer. My brother in Xenu, allow me to be serious for just one moment and tell you right up front that I will not make you wait until the very end of this video to let you know if this radio is any good or not. Like all those other YouTubers always do, I like this new radio. However, before I expound on all of the reasons why I like this radio, allow me to clarify a couple of things so that hopefully some people do not leave stupid comments complaining that this is just a cheap Chinese radio or that this radio squirts too many spurious RF emissions. This new radio, of which I am about to share with you, is a cheap Chinese radio. It is not a $5,000 Motorola or a $900 Yaesu radio. This radio costs $35. So every time I tell you that I really like this new radio, and when I say that this is a great radio, I say this in the context of this is a $35 radio. GMRS users, and by that I mean normal people, do not care about spurious RF emissions or the fact that the radio comes from China. Normal people only care about whether or not their friends will hear them when they push the trigger button and transmit. If things like spurious RF emissions or other people using Chinese radios keeps you awake at night, then please go away and stop watching my videos, because your kind is not welcome here. So when you purchase the new Baofeng UV-5G PLUS-sized radio 2-pack, in the box you will receive a lot of stuff. Because this is a 2-pack, you will get 2 of just about everything. However, in the interest of time, I am only going to show you 1 of each item. And in the box, you will receive a user manual, 41 pages long, and many people take a radio's user manual for granted. However, what many people do not know is that you can actually tell a lot about a radio by how much time and effort the company puts into the user manual. This user manual is written in very good, but not perfect English. It refers to a few things that don't actually exist in the menus, but other than that, this user manual is not bad, and it goes over most of the features. Probably the biggest flaw with this user manual is the fact that it does not work if you toss it into the trash without ever looking at it. You will receive a belt clip, sturdy, but not the most sturdy of belt clips that I've ever seen. And when installed, it will allow you to affix the radio to your belt, thereby impressing the chicks. You will receive this very handsome wrist strap, which when installed on the radio will allow you to affix the radio to any appendage of your body of your choosing. Also very good for impressing the chicks. You will receive this absolutely worthless piece of junk earpiece and microphone with a push-to-talk button, which you will probably be able to use at least 2 or 3 times before it breaks. You will receive a USB charging cable and matching USB charging adapter plug. One end of the plug goes into the holes that you find in your walls. One end of the cable goes into the plug, and the other end goes into the radio or the battery for charging purposes. And in the 2-pack, you receive 2 of all of these, 1 for each radio. You will receive a programming cable. This is used for optionally connecting your radio to your computer so that you can then use the programming software to program the radio. This is one of the very few radios on the market today that comes with a programming cable, thusly adding to its value. You will receive this whip antenna for connecting to the radio and allowing your RF electricities to squirt out into the air like a laser beam. In the 2-pack, you receive 2 of these antennas, 1 for each radio, and you will receive another much longer whip antenna, almost double the size of the first antenna. You will also receive 2 of these in the 2-pack, totaling 4 antennas. You will receive a battery, a very large 2500 milliamp hour battery. Compare that to the Baofeng UV-5R battery, which is weak, puny, girly, and only 1800 milliamp hours. The Baofeng UV-5G PLUS battery also sports the USB-C's charging. And you will receive the new Baofeng UV-5G PLUS sized model GMRS walkie-talkie radio. As previously mentioned, this is a GMRS radio, and it is locked to transmit only on GMRS frequencies, and it does not appear to be unlockable so far. However, if you have information leading to the unlocking of this radio, please leave a comment, and I'll make you famous. In addition to transmitting on GMRS frequencies, the new Baofeng UV-5G PLUS sized model radio can also receive commercial FM radio, VHF frequencies from 136 to 260 MHz, and UHF frequencies from 400 to 520 MHz. And allow me to also mention, to avoid any potential confuculation, because the NOAA weather channels are in that 160 MHz range, it does also receive all of the NOAA channels. And it even has a quick button to get you to those channels quickly. The radio has all of the standard buttons one would expect to find on a GMRS radio. The orange button is to receive FM commercial radio, and it is also used to turn on the useless and stupid alarm. The side button is used to turn on the fairly bright flashlight or the monitor function. The VFO-MR button allows you to switch between direct frequency entry and channel mode. AB switches you to transmit from the top line or the bottom line showing on the display. And you will find this new looking button referred to as the one-touch search key in the user manual. And we'll speak more of this momentarily. On the side, you'll find holes for a standard K1 type connector. This is where you stick the programming cable that comes with the radio for connecting to your computer, and you can also plug in accessories such as speakers and microphones. Upon first glance, one might think this looks very much like a regular Baofeng UV-5R type radio. However, upon closer examination, you understand why Baofeng calls this the UV-5G PLUS sized model, because it is bigger. I think it has a bigger speaker than the UV-5R type radios have. It is difficult for me to know for sure. However, it sounds like a much bigger speaker than what you find in the non-Plus radios. The radio feels tighter. It is heavier, probably because of the much larger battery. The larger Plus size allows for larger buttons, making them much easier to touch. And the radio has a new and very sexy voice.
Welcome. Channel mode.
To me, she sounds just like Molly Little. And as you can see, the screen is... Oh. I almost forgot. Okay. As I was saying, the radio has a color screen, and unlike all other color screens on GMRS radios from pretty much all other manufacturers, this screen actually does fairly well in bright sunlight. It does not do great, but it does not totally wash out and become unusable, pretty much like all other GMRS color screens. With this radio, you can actually see the screen in bright, direct sunlight. The radio does dual monitoring, so you can listen to two different frequencies or channels at the same time. And just like pretty much all other Baofeng radios, it has both a channel mode and a VFO or direct entry mode. That is what the orange button is for. However, on this radio, you can have one line in channel mode and the other line in VFO mode. And the radio dorks are going to love that. Another new feature of this radio is power on password protection, meaning that you can set a password so that you cannot use the radio without first entering said password. And if you have read through the online forums, you are probably aware that a feature of many similar radios that have shipped recently is the ability to not transmit on channel 15. Apparently several radios from more than one brand have shipped in the last several months that will not transmit on channel 15. But I am happy to report that this radio transmits on channel 15 just as Xenu intended. And most important, this radio does have a Roger beep. Baofeng says that this radio outputs 5 watts, and according to my meter, on GMRS channel 16 and with the radio set to high power, the radio outputs 7 watts. On medium, the radio outputs almost 5 watts, and on low, the radio outputs 2 watts. And of course, what many people want to know is, how many FARs does it talks? My friend, allow me to let you in on a secret that the GMRS industry has been hiding from you for almost 90 years. Virtually every 5-watt GMRS walkie-talkie radio has pretty much the exact same FARs. Even if one radio outputs only 3 or 4 watts and the others output a full 5 watts, you will likely never notice the difference in FARs. All handheld GMRS radios, including this one, in good conditions, which I am proud to say I have where I live, they can all transmit 5 to 10 miles to another walkie-talkie, 10 to 15 miles to a base station radio with a big antenna on the roof, and even 70 or more miles to a repeater. And allow me to reiterate and hopefully prevent stupid comments from morons that seem to be attracted to my channel, that this many FARs will only occur in perfect or near perfect conditions. If there is anything between you and the other radios, such as hills or trees or buildings or houses full of calorically enhanced people, your FARs will vary. All that said, using this radio with my near perfect conditions where I am, I was able to speak with my friend Conrad, the chef, on his walkie-talkie radio 13 miles away, and I'm able to hit a repeater that is 69 miles away. When talking with my friend Conrad, the chef, the smaller antenna was very weak, but when I switched to the larger antenna, he could hear me much better, and he was coming in on this radio much more clearly on my end. So this larger antenna really does make a difference. And speaking of repeaters, repeater channels show a new icon. It looks like a little plus sign or a Xenu cross on the screen. And when transmitting on a repeater, when you press the trigger button, the screen changes and shows the actual repeater input frequency that the radio is transmitting on, thusly. And when the radio is on a repeater channel, another new feature is that you can tap the star key to reverse and listen to the input frequency and transmit on the output frequency. This is different from the talk around feature, so please do not leave a comment saying that all radios have a talk around feature. This is something that most people will actually probably never need, but if you ever do need it, with this radio, you can do it. As previously mentioned, the radio has a new looking button, the one-touch search key as it is referred to in the user manual, and when you quick tap it in VFO mode, it jumps from VHF to UHF, just like all the other Baofeng UV type radios, which is an absolute waste of a perfectly good green button. However, on this radio, if you press and hold the green button, the radio does what the user manual says is a one-touch frequency search. The manual is very vague and does not say anything else or tell us exactly what that means, but in this mode, the radio will find the strongest nearby signal and display the frequency along with any CTC or DTC tone in use, which is pretty cool. So if your friend has a radio but you do not know what frequency it is transmitting on or what tones that radio is using, this will tell you. And like many radios, this radio has a stopwatch feature. However, this stopwatch is actually useful. So now you can easily time how long the sad hams talk and clog up the GMRS channels while they try to pretend to be normal people. As I have mentioned multiple times at this point in this video, I do like this radio. However, I must now talk about what is wrong with this radio. As I have mentioned multiple times, this is a $35 radio, and it is not perfect. The radio is not chirp compatible yet. However, you can download the free Baofeng software for programming, which, unlike chirp, only runs on Windows. You are not required to use the programming software before you can use the radio. The radio works out of the box. It has all of the GMRS channels pre-programmed. You simply take it out of the box, turn it on, pick a channel, press the trigger, and begin talking. So you do not need to use the programming software. You can do everything such as programming repeaters on the keypad, except for, as far as I can tell, customizing the channel names. If you require custom channel names, you must use the software. There are a few things that the web page for the radio and the manual says that just are not there or do not do what they claim. For example, the frequency copy feature. And about this feature, the web page says, and I quote, "The frequency copy feature simplifies the process of programming two-way radio frequency settings, allowing for seamless cloning of frequency configurations from one GMRS radio to another nearby." And while that sounds awesome, there is not a single word about this feature in the user manual, so I have no idea how to use it or how it works. I am guessing that maybe the one-touch search key function that I mentioned a moment ago might be what they are talking about. However, that is far from what I would call seamless cloning of frequency configurations from one radio to another. The manual says that menu item number 41 is the voice PRI option to activate frequency hopping, and when activated, the radio shows SC on the screen, but as far as I can tell, this does not do anything. As previously mentioned, the manual says that you can lock the radio when you turn it on until you enter the password that you set. However, the manual does not say what to do if you forget that password, so act accordingly. Overall, for $35 or $70 or less when you get the 2-pack with the extra antennas and a programming cable, this is a very good value, in my opinion. And as I have previously mentioned throughout this entire video, this is a surprisingly nice radio for the price.